Something you might not know about me is that I am very interested in flags. Something you also might know is that flags are something you can be very interested in. And so welcome to Canoe Federation's new series, Flag File. Here on Flag File, we will be diving into various topics about different countries' flags, as well as vexillology in general. Vexillology referring to the study of flags. If it sounds interesting, great, because today we will be talking about just what flags are, what goes into making a flag, and where they got their beginnings. I decided to wear a more flag-related shirt. Yes, I know the background of the Colorado flag is actually blue, but hey, it fits better than the Hawaiian shirt. Flags have been used for centuries, if not millennia, to symbolize different nations, empires, and other groups. They help us identify many major things, like who we are, what group we belong to, where we're from, etc. They're essentially like signatures or logos, but not for people or companies. They're for nations or empires or even states and provinces. And for a very good reason, are used to represent a nation's values. For example, did you know that on the German flag, the three colors represent the three values in the German motto? Einigkeit, Recht, und Freiheit. Is a fact I completely made up. That's not actually true. We don't actually know where the colors of the German flag come from. At least not for sure. The earliest version of flags were military standards, used notably by the Egyptians and the Romans. In fact, the word vexillology comes from the Latin word vexillum, using the original Roman pronunciation, which referred to this type of standard. An early type of this flag was the Darefsh Kaviani, which was used to symbolize kings of the Sasanian Empire. The Roman Empire and Alexander the Great also used this type of vexilloid or proto-flag type symbol to identify themselves. One of the oldest modern flags in the world, and the oldest flag still used by a country today, is the flag of Denmark, right here, which was adopted in the year 1219 at the very latest. And since then, the only changes that have been made to it are more formal approach on how the proportions work. Yes, there are actually rules as to how flag proportions work. For example, the American flag is kept to a strict 10 to 19 ratio, which means that if the height is 10 units, the width is 19 units, or the width is almost twice as much as the height. There are also some other rules. For example, obviously spacing of 50 stars, and the canton corner must go down to the 7th stripe. There's a lot that goes into making a flag, especially knowledge of flag anatomy. You just heard me say the word canton, which really refers to any of the four corners of the flag if it is divided up into corners, like the flag of Maryland right here. However, it usually refers to the upper hoist side, such as in the American flag. Though remember, usually doesn't mean Though remember, usually doesn't mean has to. Now, the hoist side is pretty self-explanatory. It is simply the part of the flag that is closer to the hoist, or the flagpole. The hoist side is usually the left side of the flag, because flags are usually oriented like this, and there aren't really any exceptions to this rule. The other side is called the fly, as in the part that flies through the air when you wave it like this. The fly side doesn't usually have as much symbolism, like how the canton of the American flag is towards the hoist side, or how the Nepalese flag doesn't really have a fly side. Well, it does, but not in the same way as the other flags here. There are also different terms for things such as a border, a Greek cross, like on the flag of Switzerland, a symmetrical cross, like on the flag of England or Georgia, a Nordic cross. There are also terms like saltire, POW, chevron, etc. Now, if you've ever crafted a banner in Minecraft, you might have actually heard these terms before. Now, flags are usually quadrilateral in varying proportions. For example, the Belgian flag is a 13 by 15 ratio, meaning that it's almost a square. But quadrilateral flags aren't a requirement. Just take the flag of Nepal, which actually requires some serious geometry in order to get the proportions just right. Or you could just put it on a 2x3 white background and just act like this is a design and just pretend it's okay. Olympics. Although quadrilateral flags do make flag maps easier, but actually no, I take that back. That works actually really well. Huh. Well, I mean, partly the reason I made that remark is so I could tell you that this, and this are called flag maps. But again, quadrilateral flags aren't necessarily a requirement. There aren't any real requirements or guidelines to creating a flag, just don't be Pocatello, Idaho. I mean, look at that. That looks like something you're gonna find on a cigarette box. It has a copyright text. Now, all flags, whether quadrilateral or non-quadrilateral, whether simple or fairly complex, all represent the country, province, etc. that they identify. However, you'll know that your flag has failed at this when you have to put text on it showing where it represents. Because if you have to write where your flag represents, your symbolism has failed. I'm looking at you, Oregon, my home state! Why can't you be more like my birth state? Or my birth district? At least your flag has a good backside. Sorry, these certain US state flags actually anger a lot of people, including myself. Yeah, that's enough of the ranting. Yeah, thanks for watching. See you next Sunday. Thanks for watching the first episode of Flag File, and please be sure to like, comment, share, etc., and subscribe for more in the future every Sunday. Let me know what you thought about Flag File. Should I do more of these? Do you want to never see these again? Well, I'm open to your thoughts.